Okay, everyone, this is it. It's the Sociology 341 Final Exam Study Guide. So let's take a look. This is chapters 10, 11, 12, and 13 that the final is based upon. So question 1 is from chapter 10. Explain the technical indicators that distinguish gentrification from other types of urban development. And there's a very good discussion of those three technical indicators, the supply side, the demand side, and displacement. And again, pointed you to the pages there. You'll notice that I tried to make certain that I highlighted important words, concepts, and I also tried to make sure that I gave you the page numbers as well. Discuss the focus of urban semiotics and describe its influence and describe its use. Okay, so I see that needs some work here. And describe how it influences the way we think of cities and distinct communities within a city. Again, gave you some page numbers. Explain how you would describe the city where you live to someone who has never been there, and explain how and why you created that description. So, we all have a way of describing where we live. For example, I live in Henderson, just outside of Las Vegas. I'm about 15 minutes from downtown Las Vegas. And so when people say, where are you from? Where do you live? I say, I live in Vegas. I don't really live there, but I know that people will know generally where Las Vegas is, and they probably will never have heard of Henderson. So why do I do that? Well, there has to be a reason, right? So I want you to think about how you explain or how you describe the city where you live to somebody who's never been there, but also think about how and why you created that description. Explain the concept of mental maps and analyze how they are shaped by a person's experience of a city as well uh, um, as the text explains, social status, perhaps even gender, race, etc. Who we are does shape how we experience a city. That's chapter 10 question. Second question is from chapter 11. Explain the work of the three utopian planners and analyze the differences in their ideas for improving, another typo here, for improving urban life. Okay, again, pointed you to the page numbers. Discuss spatial capital and identify the three ways to measure it. Analyze how spatial capital affects low-income people in relation to commuting to work and obtaining affordable housing. And of course, provide examples to support your discussion. Do you experience any problems in relation to commuting and affordable housing? If not, what resources do you have that allow you not to have any problems? And if yes, then explain your strategies for resolving, as best you can, probably can't resolve them completely, these problems. Third question, chapter 12. Describe how the different approaches to urban planning in Toronto, Canada, and Detroit, Michigan have contributed to two very different cities. Which approach do you consider to be the better one, and why? Discuss how the Reagan and Bush administrations contributed to the worsening of urban problems according to the authors of the text. Explain how tax credits work and discuss the two examples cited in the text. What is your opinion of cities providing tax credits to extremely wealthy companies? Why do you think more people are not in favor of giving tax credits to small businesses, but they do not protest tax credits to large corporations? And then finally, the chapter 4 question, or chapter 13 question, is number 4. Describe the three criteria that make an urban social environment urban social movement different from a social movement in general? Um, Explain inclusion zoning and summarize the process in Seattle, Washington. Analyze the differences between rent control and inclusion zoning. In your opinion, which is more useful, rent control or inclusion zoning, and why? Finally, do you believe that access to healthcare for everyone, regardless of their status, regardless of social class, um, income, religion, sexual orientation, gender, etc., do you believe that access to healthcare is a right that everyone should have? Why or why not? Um, and I guess I should say, um, I also want you to consider universal health care. You know, the way in many countries in Europe, if you do not have money, you still get to go to the doctor. And if you need surgery, you're going to get surgery. In fact, this was many years ago now that I'm thinking about it. I remember this night class in particular. I was talking about healthcare and access to healthcare and the differences in the way that much of westernized Europe treats healthcare. They treat it as a right versus the way we treat it here in the US, which I think we typically tend to treat as a privilege. You know, if you can afford it, great. If you can't, oh well. And this one student said that she had experienced healthcare in the UK. She was in London at the time, and she had finished college. She was traveling for the summer with a friend. She began to feel quite ill. She and her friend, said, I'll go get a taxi. They went to the local hospital in a taxi. And after running some tests, it turned out that the woman was experiencing some issues because of her blood pressure. And so she was stabilized. She spent a couple days in the hospital. They gave her, all the medical care she needed. When she left, they gave her a prescription for some blood pressure medications. And she was quite surprised when she asked how much she owed, when she was told she didn't owe anything. She wouldn't get a bill because they have universal health care. It's a right. If you're sick and you need health care, you get it. So I want you to think about it in that way when I say access to health care. That is it. I don't need to wish you good luck because I know that if you prepare for this exam that you will do well. So study hard.